Terrion Arnold. Man, that's a brutal situation there. He got released by the Lions. You know, this story broke last week. I mean, obviously it hit big here in Michigan. But obviously he's used to play for the Detroit Lions, but man, Terrion Arnold, you hate to see it, right? Because you know he's young. He's 23 years old. Why is he getting involved in this? But at the same time, we got to let the law do its thing. You got to trust the process. You know, obviously I have my opinions on that, but you just got to let it play out. But that's how we start this episode today. We got to talk about Terrion Arnold. We'll get into NBA free agency. A lot of crazy stuff going on there. A big name player in NHL free agency going to the Toronto Maple Leafs. We'll touch on that. Talk about the Tigers, some World Cup stuff, and then end today's episode with UFC 329, the rematch between Conor McGregor and Max Holloway. So thank you guys for joining me. It's the 1st of July, 3 more days till the 250th birthday of the United States of America, July 4th, 1776. That's obviously the day that we declared our independence from Great Britain. It was a turning point in the American Revolution and War. Obviously, a great moment. It's this weekend, so stay safe out there. This is the 4th of July episode of Guys Time. So as you can see, I'm wearing my shirt. So thank you for joining me again. Zach Bryce here, the Bryce. We got to talk about Terrion Arnold. So Terrion Arnold, obviously former first rounder of the Detroit Lions from 2024, and I remembered that because I was there when they drafted him. Me and my cousin. Shout out to John Bryce. Hope you're doing well, my friend. We went to the draft in Detroit 2 years ago, and I remember when they drafted him, and I was excited because he's from Alabama, and you know how the talent is in Alabama. I mean, stars, nothing less. It's stars or bust. With Alabama in recent years, there's been so much talent going through that school. Terrion Arnold was one of them. So he got drafted in the first round, and you know what? His play after a few years, not the greatest, man. So maybe this is a blessing in disguise that he got released by the Lions. But then people are saying, oh, it's not fair because, you know, a couple months ago, you know, you got Dan Campbell saying, oh, yeah, you know, I don't think he's involved in this, you know, horrific crimes. You know, he's being charged for 8 felonies, guys. 8. $1 million bond. So there has to be some big evidence there that he's involved in this crime. It was a kidnapping and armed robbery situation going on that happened last February. We heard about it. They really didn't touch on it. It was just kind of there, right? I mean, you had so many other distractions going on around that time. You know, NFL was wrapping up, you know, Super Bowl. You know, you had hockey going on. You had the NFL draft a couple months later. So you had so many distractions. So it kind of got lost a little bit. Maybe not here in Michigan. You know, we heard about it and we're just like, oh, here we go again. But now, going into July, obviously this situation, the news broke last week when we were still in June. It hits hard here in Michigan because obviously he's a former Detroit Lion. But now we're seeing the whole situation play out. So yeah, he's being charged with 8 felony crimes, armed robbery, kidnapping. Obviously, as I mentioned, it happened in February. 4 counts of kidnapping, 4 counts of armed robbery. They say he was like the ringleader of this whole operation, you know. And then even before that, there was a situation allegedly that people broke into his house, stole like $250,000 worth of jewelry and other belongings that belonged to Terrion Arnold. So he wanted payback, so he recruits all these guys and his buddies, and they commit these horrible crimes. But allegedly, I mean, like I said, we gotta let the law play out and let the law do its thing. But when you are being charged with 8 felonies and your bond's at $1 million, and you just got done being released by the Lions, it's not looking too good for Terrion Arnold. But like I said, we gotta see what the law does. We gotta see the true 100% evidence in this whole situation. But it's sad, right? Because it's another situation of a young athlete, or an athlete in general, just making bonehead decisions, just making stupid decisions. Dude, he's only 23 years old. Why is he getting involved in this? Why is he getting involved in armed robbery and kidnapping? You're making millions of dollars being a professional football player of the NFL. What the hell are you doing, man? And dude, just 23 years old. He's a kid, man, and he's involved in this crap. So it's crazy. Like I said, former first-round pick of the 2024 NFL Draft. I was there. I remember I was excited because, hey, we got another Alabama Crimson Tide player on our squad. Maybe he can help us. But like I said, man, he's been, injury prone. Gave up a lot of plays last season, big plays on the pass, in passing situations, and he was hurt. He was hurt for most of this season. He had so many shoulder problems, tried to come back early, and then he has a concussion, and then they decide, oh, yeah, your shoulder's too messed up. We're going to shut you down for the season. Go get shoulder surgery, and then maybe you get to play next season. Well, that's not the case anymore. You just got released by the Lions, but his play was inconsistent. I don't think he was great at all. But now releasing him, that secondary looks very questionable for the Detroit Lions because now you got Brian Branch recovering from a torn Achilles. We might not see him till halfway through the season, maybe even longer, they're saying. So you have that, and then you got Kirby Joseph, banged up his knee. We might not even see him ever again, on the football field. I don't know. And those are two great players. That's our secondary in a nutshell. So who's going to replace all three of these guys? And dude, that was a major deficiency. That was a weakness for the Detroit Lions last year. Our secondary was trash, god awful, garbage. But now you lose Terrion Arnold, you lose Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, big names. It's just like, damn, dude, this franchise can't catch a damn break. And I've always said it, a few years ago, that NFC Championship game against the 49ers. I know it's like a damn broken record, but that was our shot. And I've said it numerous times here, this year it's Super Bowl or bust. This doesn't help. I mean, yes, releasing him gets rid of the distractions. I got training camp coming up, OTAs, organized team activities coming up relatively soon here within the next couple of weeks for all NFL teams. Obviously the Lions included, but you get rid of the distraction, but now you have to address the secondary. What's Dan Campbell going to do? What's Calvin Shepard going to do, the new defensive coordinator? What is he going to do? What is he going to do in this situation? Now, like, how are we going to replace those missing pieces, key missing pieces to that defense? But so going back to Terrion Arnold, his 2025 stats, he only had 1 interception, 8 pass deflections, and 23 solo tackles. Yeah, as I mentioned, he was battling the injury bug. His shoulder was banged up all year. Missed a chunk of, he missed 2 games. Came back, I think, way too early, and then he gets a concussion in the game that he comes back. And then he opts for shoulder surgery, and then he's done for the season. So that's good. I mean, right? I mean, you're still getting paid. You should have taken care of this problem when it happened. Like, I don't know why you're trying to come back early, compete, and then you get a concussion, and then, decide, oh, I'm going to have shoulder surgery because it's that jacked up. Like, I don't know. It's a headache, man. But like I said, he just gave up too many big plays in the passing game. He was not good. He could not defend. He could not make plays. Obviously, injury aside, I don't think he just wasn't that good, my opinion. But maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe it's a good thing that the Lions released him. But now, obviously, he's got a bigger situation to deal with. Does he go to prison or whatever? But like I said, the law's got to play out. We'll see what happens. But yeah, Terrion Arnold, released by the Lions, facing 8 counts of kidnapping and armed robbery. Obviously, we got to see the evidence, but it's just not looking too good. But yeah, 23 years old, man. That's the part that gets me. And like I said, here we go again. Athletes getting in trouble. If he gets convicted, he's finished. He's never playing football ever again. And I don't know. Does he get signed by another team? Like, is he that valuable that they need a guy like Terrion Arnold? Or is it going to be a distraction with all this legal stuff going on in his personal life? So, I don't know. He kind of screwed himself, but at the same time, we got to see what happens with the law, the legal process. We'll see how everything turns out, but yeah, just common trend with young athletes making stupid, bonehead decisions. Brandon Sorsby, recent athlete making a bonehead decision. I mean, you can't gamble, dude. You're a professional. You're a college athlete. You can't gamble. You decide to gamble. You have a problem. You're an addict, and then you try to play this year, and then you just kind of just quit school, and now you're trying to get ready for an NFL draft. I mean, that whole situation's just chaos. So he's another example. Malik Beasley, former Detroit Piston, facing illegal gambling charges to manipulate his performance so that people can make fraudulent bets. And that's according to NBC News. So Terrion Arnold's not the first athlete to be dealing with the situation. And it's just like, I don't get, especially with the young guys. Like, you throw so much money at them and the fame that they're going to receive for being a professional athlete in the NFL or NBA, wherever. Spotlight's on them. They just can't handle it. I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of sad too, because like, we're all human beings. We're all going to make mistakes. We're all going to make boneheaded decisions. But, as a professional athlete, you're not invincible. You have to, conduct yourself as a normal human being. But these athletes, they get all that money, power, fame, and attention, and they think they're invincible. So, yeah, it's crazy. But that's secondary for the Lions. Toast right now, as of now. And, we said it here on Guys Time. All the Lions have one of the easiest schedules in the world. Oh, yeah, woohoo. No. Well, now with your secondary being absolutely obliterated, that easy schedule crap don't mean jack now. It don't mean anything. So, but yeah, Terrion Arnold, released from the Lions a couple days ago. They don't want to deal with him. Kind of crazy, though, turn of events. You got the head coach, Dan Campbell, backing him. You got Rod Wood, the president of the Lions, backing him, saying, Terrion Arnold denied any wrongdoing. So these are guys that talk to him. And he's telling, obviously, his side of the story of what went down. And they believe them, he didn't do it. But then now, a couple days later, you release the guy. So how serious is this situation that a team who backed you, right, now has released you? You're no longer a Detroit Lion. So how serious is this situation, right? And I said before, $1 million bond, facing 8 felony charges. There's got to be something there, but at the same time, I can't jump to conclusions, right? And, I can't get ahead of myself. But yeah, it's just sad. 23 years old, and he's throwing his life away. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, Terrion Arnold, no longer a Detroit Lion. So we open the episode with that. Now we got to jump to NBA free agency. Yeah, I know, the NBA, right? We don't really talk a whole lot of NBA free agency stuff here. But yeah, obviously, last week we had the whole Giannis Antetokounmpo situation. He's going to the Miami Heat. He's part of the Heat organization now. That was a big blockbuster signing there. But now you got Kawhi Leonard returning to Toronto. He is a Toronto Raptor once again, the place where he won the 2019 NBA championship. So that's a big signing by Toronto. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard, good player. Obviously, there's still some production there on his part. I mean, if Toronto's interested in him, he played for the Clippers last year. So he's coming over to Toronto. Once again, reunite with Toronto, the Raptors. Maybe a championship again. I don't know. He won it in 2019. We'll see what happens there. Now, LeBron James, he said Lakers can move on without him. So he might sign somewhere else. Where does LeBron James go? The king himself. Where does he go? Does he come to Detroit? That would be interesting. And LeBron James, he presents that veteran presence to that locker room. I mean, he could help out Cade Cunningham. But then you got the Pistons signing John Collins from the Clippers, a 3-year, $51 million contract. So that will help Cade out in the backcourt, help him out in terms of offensive production, because you can't have Cade Cunningham doing all the work. Your star player is going to get exhausted. I mean, we've talked about this. He's doing all the work. You saw in the playoffs. It was him. like 95% of the time. The other 5% was everyone else, like Tobias Harris, who's no longer with the Detroit Pistons. He's with the San Antonio Spurs. He signed a 2-year, $31 million deal. So hats off to you, Tobias. Thank you for your service. So you have that going on as well. But someone's got to help out Cade Cunningham. And, you got Jalen Duren. His playoff performance was god-awful. I mean, that to have a great regular season and to just completely suck in the playoffs when we need you, it's unacceptable. And this guy wants to get paid like $51 million, 5-year contract or whatever, some ridiculous number, $40 million a year he wants to get paid. I don't know, multiple reports, ESPN, wherever, CBS and sports. We'll see where he lands. I mean, he might go to the Boston Celtics. Good. Have fun over there because they don't mess around. That's a championship storied franchise. So, regular season, great. You better show up in the playoffs. Right? I mean, he didn't do it with us. So, good regular season. He was reliable, but then in the playoffs, he just sunk and absolutely sucked. So, he might go to the Celtics. So, Pistons making some crazy moves. I like the John Collins signing because, again, helps out Cade Cunningham. So, John Collins, last year with the Clippers, some stats according to ESPN. I mean, 13.6 points per game. All right, that's decent, right? I mean, it's reliable, but 50 field goal percentage just above 55%, and that's best for 14th in the NBA. So 6'9", 226 pounds. That's a big dude, man. I like that. I like the size. He's 28 years old. Been in the league for a while. So again, some veteran presence helping out Cade. Maybe help out that locker room a little bit. The Pistons have made it to the playoffs in back-to-back years. Dude, 3 years ago, they had 14 wins. Yeah, 14 wins 3 years ago. And now back-to-back playoff appearances. Obviously, you got knocked out in the first round last year against the Knicks. And then this past year, got knocked out in the second round against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Should have won that series, but it is what it is. But yeah, John Collins. I like it because it helps out Cade Cunningham. We'll see what he has to offer. But yeah, Pistons are making moves. I like seeing that. They had to give up Tobias Harris. He's going with the San Antonio Spurs, so congrats to him. You're still dealing with the Jalen Duren chaos and headache. I mean, just get rid of him. You don't want to pay him, obviously. So let him go to the Celtics. Let him go to the Lakers. Wherever he ends up, he's not going to be a Detroit Pistons. So crazy stuff going on in NBA free agency, especially here in Detroit. But yeah, LeBron James. I don't know. Does he come to Detroit? I don't think it's going to happen, but never say never, especially in the NBA. So, and obviously him being LeBron James, he wants to go to a big market. I mean, you got to think, Cleveland, that's his hometown. Obviously, he's going to play there. Couldn't win a championship. So he hops over to the Miami Heat. A couple years later, he's winning back-to-back championships in Miami. That's a big market. Then he goes back to Cleveland. Finally brings a championship home. Over 50 years. Finally brings a championship home to Cleveland. Winning that one in 2016. The famous 3-1 deficit, came back and beat the Golden State Warriors. That was absolutely crazy. And he finally brought the championship back home in Cleveland. He had that, and then he's been a Laker for a few years now. But now, he's a free agent. He's a free man. So what happens here? Where does LeBron James go? I don't think he's coming to Detroit. That would be crazy if he did, but I don't know. I don't know if I want all that, that craziness here when we're trying to win a championship. We're trying to establish something here with Cade Cunningham, all the young guys. So we'll see what happens. But, you have Ja Morant, a couple days ago, all-star from the Memphis Grizzlies. He's going to the Portland Trailblazers for Jerami Grant and Chris Murray. So really, bag of peanuts. So I think the Portland Trailblazers definitely won that one. But yeah, Ja Morant, another great player. Spent his career with Memphis. Now he's going to Portland. And, that deal, no draft picks, just 2 other players that the Portland Trailblazers had to give up to the Grizzlies. And then Grizzlies traded Ja Morant to the Trailblazers. So crazy NBA free agency. I like the John Collins signing. I think that's going to be a huge help for Cade Cunningham. Hopefully it pans out. Jalen Duren, just get the hell out of Detroit. I don't want to see you, because if you're not going to show up in the playoffs, which you didn't, no, there's no use, man. So I'm kind of, I'm not heartbroken, but kind of sad a little bit that Tobias Harris left. But you got to think about his future. He's going with San Antonio Spurs. Good team, great history. Hey, good for him. And getting paid too. 2-year, $31 million deal. Hey, nothing wrong with that. So you have that. LeBron James is a free agent. Giannis Antetokounmpo from last week, he's with the Miami Heat. So a lot of big names jumping ship. That's the NBA free agency. So you have that. Another free agency that's actually started today at noon is the NHL free agency. Last week we had the draft, so that was good to see. A lot of young players there, but now it's time for the NFL or NHL, free agency. So start today at noon. Sebastian Cossa, obviously this was last week's news. He's gone from the Red Wings. He's going to the Utah Mammoth, the newest team of the NHL. 2-year contract, average annual value AV of $2 million. This guy was a stud with the Grand Rapids Griffins. I'm really trying to wrap my head around as to why he was not used more with the Detroit Red Wings. Call the guy up. He's obviously kicking ass and dominating with the Grand Rapids Griffins. Why is he not with the Detroit Red Wings? I mean, John Gibson was decent for most of the year this past season. And then Cam Talbot, he could let in 5 goals. He could let in 1. He was very inconsistent. They really never gave Sebastian Cossa a chance, I believe. So maybe with Utah, it's a fresh start. But he's a first-round draft pick. Or we got him for a first-round draft pick in last Friday's draft. 23rd overall pick. He had a 26-8-4 record. A 91.5 save percentage. 5 shutouts in 39 AHL games with the Grand Rapids Griffins. And, like I said, they didn't use him. They didn't use him like they should have. He should have been called up a lot sooner, but no, they just relied on 2 goalies, John Gibson and Cam Talbot. And like I said, John Gibson was decent. I mean, he had bad games, but for the most part, he was decent. And Cam Talbot, you don't know what the hell you're going to get with him. I mean, are you going to get the bad Cam Talbot on this night, or are you going to get the good Cam Talbot on that night? You just never knew last year with the goaltending for the Detroit Red Wings. And the goaltending's god-awful. That's got to get cleaned up for the Detroit Red Wings. Offensive production, something's got to get done. The Red Wings are kind of silent right now. I haven't seen any big trades. We're still dealing with the Dylan Larkin situation, kind of similar to Jalen Duren. I mean, there's just so many problems in Detroit right now. Even Tarek Skubal, I'll throw him in the hat. Trying to trade him. We're trying to get rid of Larkin, but we got to get something. We're trying to get rid of Jalen Duren. Trying to get something. Terrion Arnold gets released. I mean, what the hell is going on with Detroit sports? It's crazy. I can't wrap my head around. So, with the Detroit Red Wings, you're trying to still deal Dylan Larkin, but who are we going to pick up, right? Just nothing. Nothing going on. Brady Tkachuk going down to Florida, reuniting with his brother Matthew Tkachuk. That's going to be dangerous. And speaking of the Panthers, obviously they didn't make it to the playoffs last year, but they're losing their longtime goalie and Sergei Bobrovsky. That was the major signing today. As of right now, obviously, probably my phone is probably blowing up right now as we speak, but the big signing as of today was Sergei Bobrovsky heading to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, the Maple Leafs going all in, like literally all in for Bobrovsky. 2-time Stanley Cup winner with the Panthers. He signed a 3-year, $21 million deal, so he's getting paid $7 million a year, obviously, with adjustments and stuff like that. But man, I mean, Toronto, and this is Toronto. I mean, nothing to get excited about, but I guess they got a goalie. I mean, I can't really say much. The Red Wings are god-awful too, but, we like to mess with Toronto because, the Toronto Maple Leafs. But I don't know. Does the Red Wings strike and possibly get Austin Matthews? I mean, do you really want to invest in that? You want to invest in that guy? I don't know. Something that's, the Red Wings got to do something. They have to do something. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen, but yeah, Sergei Bobrovsky going to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Major signing there today for Toronto, so big name there. But yeah, he struggled this past season. They didn't even make it to the playoffs, the Florida Panthers. This is a team that won back-to-back Stanley Cups in 2024 and 2025. Didn't even make it to the playoffs this year. So crazy year, maybe just an off year. They battled injuries too. The goaltending, obviously Sergei Bobrovsky wasn't the greatest. He was inconsistent at times, but they were hit with the injury bug, just like all teams. But it was kind of shocking that they didn't make to the playoffs this year. But yeah, Sergei Bobrovsky, no longer a Florida Panther. He's headed to Toronto, and he's officially a Maple Leaf. So yeah, we'll see what happens. That crazy free agent signing there. Toronto's got their goaltender, so we have that to look forward to. So now we got to hop over to the Detroit Tigers. So the Detroit Tigers, they won 2 out of 3 with the Yankees. Last time I saw it, they were heading extra innings. It was like the bottom of the 11th, and we were up like 3-2. And we're playing in New York. So I'm going to check the score right now. But last night, we beat the Yankees 9-3. Won the first 2 games of the 3-game series against the Pinstripes. Yankees, as of the last night's loss, 6 straight. And this is the Yankees. This is a team that's been dominating for most of the season, or damn near all the season. This team has been one of the best teams in baseball. And I get it. You're playing 162 games. You're going to slip at times. You're going to go on losing streaks. You're going to have injuries. And that's exactly what the Yankees are dealing with right now. You're losing Aaron Judge. I mean, when isn't he on the injured list? Giancarlo Stanton, another guy. When isn't he on the injured list? Max Fried, one of their top pitchers. These are guys that are hurt. Garrett Cole, I think he was injured at the beginning of the season. So this is a team that's battling injuries. This is a team that, it happens. It happens. And now I'm looking at the score right now. Tigers won in 11 innings, 6-2. So they swept the Yankees on the road. Three-game set, and they swept the Yankees. So great win there for the Tigers. They got the Texas Rangers tomorrow, 3-game series there on the road, and then we finished the first half of MLB before the All-Star break with a same 6-game homestand. You got the Athletics and you got the Philadelphia Phillies. So that'll be amazing. That'll be interesting how that turns out. But the Tigers need to finish on a high note. I mean, with you sweeping the Yankees, one of the best teams in baseball. Well, now they've lost 7 straight. Let's roll, dude. I mean, forget about May. We're not 6-22 record. We're not worried about that. Let's finish the first half of baseball before the All-Star break on a high note. You gotta go to Texas, but then you're back at home for a 6-game homestand against the Athletics and the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's win those games. Let's go on a winning streak. But yeah, now we gotta finish, because I've said it numerous times here on Guys Time. We have a great first half, and then the second half, the Tigers fall apart. I mean, last year you had a 12-game lead in the AL Central, and then Cleveland came and took that lead right from your ass. And yeah, and you guys lost in this second round of the playoffs. So we'll see what happens, but I like seeing this. I mean, obviously my best friend Eric Bilecki is not too fond that his Yankees got swept by the Tigers, so haha, Eric. But yeah, great win for the Tigers. I mean, you swept the Yankees on the road, man. So let's continue that going into tomorrow night, 8:05, first game of the series, Texas Rangers, another tough team there. Let's win that one. So yeah, Tigers, I like it. I like what I'm seeing from them. But yeah, the Yankees, 7 straight losses. Like I said, they battling the injury bug. No Aaron Judge, no Giancarlo Stanton. Max Fried, one of your best pitchers, he's out with an injury. But dude, the Yankees, I mean, this is bad, man. I mean, if you're a Yankee fan like Eric, my best friend Eric, God bless his soul. I mean, it's not good. You got swept in the 4-game series last week to your arch rival, the Boston Red Sox, man, and they're last place in the AL East. Last place, and you got swept in the 4-game series against your arch rival. That's not good. Now you drop 7 straight, lose an extra inning. So, yeah, so many opportunities to beat the Tigers today, and just couldn't do it. So this is a team that's struggling. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, lots of baseball to be played. Eric should not be worried. I'm sure the Yankees will still be in the playoffs. I mean, they would have to collapse hard to miss the playoffs, right? And we've seen it. Don't say it never happened, because it has. You have teams first half of baseball before the All-Star break just dominant, winning games, pitching's unbelievable. Not a whole lot of major injuries. Guys are hitting the ball, getting on base, scoring runs, just kicking ass and taking names. But in the second half of baseball, after that All-Star break, they just crash and burn and just get absolutely annihilated. We'll see what happens. Like I said, lots of baseball to be played. So Yankees, like I said, I think they'll be fine, but lots of baseball to be played. Tigers, though, they're 9 games behind first place in the AL Central. So there's a lot of baseball to be played. Tigers have an opportunity to dominate the second half of baseball, but we got to finish the first half first. Like I said, tomorrow night, 3-game series against the Texas Rangers. Let's win. We got 4th of July game, 4:05. Celebrate America's 250th birthday. We declared independence on this day 250 years ago. As of Saturday, on Saturday, that'll be the day. So watch some baseball, hang out with some friends, go Tigers. So I like the Tigers sweeping the Yankees, because now I can rub it in Eric's face, and I'm going to see him this weekend, so that's going to be funny. So it's going to be a good time as always. So yeah, go Tigers. Let's go. Let's get this win against Texas. So we got the World Cup. It's actually coming on in less than 2 hours. The United States of America going up against Bosnia. So that'll be a very interesting game. This is a knockout game, so the USA definitely needs to win. Mexico winning their first knockout game. I read something in more than 40 or 50 years. I think it was the first win in 50 years. They beat Ecuador yesterday, so congrats to Mexico. You got England beating DR Congo. Belgium and Senegal are going at it right now. But yeah, the USA's playing tonight, 8 o'clock on Fox, going up against Bosnia. So that'll be a very interesting one, all you soccer fanatics. The World Cup, it's here, the 2026 version of the World Cup. Check that one out, 8 o'clock will be a good one. Now we got to wrap up today's episode. We got to talk about UFC 329. Guys, it's almost here. We're 1 week out. I know, we were just talking about this last week, saying it was 2 weeks out. 7 days away, more than 7 days away. And we're almost here. So UFC 329, it's Conor McGregor making his return to the UFC. First time in 5 years going up against Max Holloway. This is the second time these two have gone at it. First time Conor McGregor beat Max Holloway. They were both young lads. 2013, they were in their early to mid-20s when they last fought. So now Holloway coming off of a brutal loss to Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira just dominated him for 5 rounds. He's looking to get back in the win column. And Conor McGregor, being away from the octagon for 5 years, I don't know why he's doing this. I mean, he's made so much money, but, maybe we're getting the old, hungry Conor McGregor that we saw over a decade ago. We'll see. But he's been away from the octagon. Like I said, I still don't know if this fight's going to happen. Like, when they're both in the octagon and whoever the referee is, Herb Dean, whoever, Jason Herzog, whoever, if, when they say, let's go, when that first round starts, then I'll know it's legit. But let's get these two guys in the octagon, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, UFC 329, next Saturday, 9 o'clock, Paramount Plus. Check it out. Paddy Pimblett on this card going up against Benoit Saint Denis. Lightweight bout there. That's going to be a good one. Tracy Cortez is on this card as well. Some big names. check it out. But yeah, Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway 2, as of now, next Saturday, July 11th. Check that out. Fight night. Nothing. Always a good time for fight night. So that's it. So thank you for joining me on this special 4th of July episode of Guys Time. Guys, we're almost at 200. We got a few episodes more, and then we'll be at number 200. So gotta plan something special for that one. I've been keeping track. Been doing this for 6 years, over 6 years now. It's been fun, man. So thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for always supporting me, having my back, telling me to keep pushing. Obviously times have been tough, we're tough, at times. But just try to be consistent as possible. So thank you for joining me, as always, on this edition, the 4th of July edition of Guys Time. As you can see, I'm wearing my shirt. USA, go USA. God bless America. You guys are amazing. So this episode's going to be available later tonight. I'll try to get that out to you. The audio version should be out as well. And I know I said on one of my Instagram videos I was going to send out another audio version of one of my episodes. The one I talk about Justin Gaethje winning the championship, Stanley Cup final, NBA final. Still will release that. I just forgot about it. Got craziness going on, other stuff in my life going on. But I'll get that episode out to you, along with this one, the audio version, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. Guys Time with the Bryce. Do Google search or just check me out on that. My YouTube channel, subscribe to Guys Time with the Bryce. I'm on YouTube as well. You get the video version. You get to see my pretty face, my amazing face, as always. And stay safe out there. Happy 4th of July. Stay safe. Enjoy your time with your friends and family. Enjoy the weather. Hopefully it's nice here. They're calling for rain. Hopefully it's not a lot, but it's been hot here in Michigan. And you Michiganders, you know what I'm talking about. It's been brutal here. But hey, we're going to complain about the winter in a couple months. Yeah, don't say anything about the winter. Let's just enjoy the weather now. Yeah, I know, right? But, time keeps clicking away, man. It's crazy. It's going to be here before you know it. But I'm going to enjoy my 4th of July. I hope you do as well. Check out this episode and all my episodes of Guys Time. Happy 4th of July. Stay safe out there. Love this shirt. You guys are amazing. We're going to celebrate America's 250th birthday this Saturday. So thank you so much. As always, you guys are amazing. Stay safe out there. You guys are the best. And watch some sports this weekend, as always. All right, take care, guys. Have a good one.